Well, Tokyo listed shares of Nintendo jumped today after the console maker launched its latest online game, Splatoon 3. That has become the biggest Nintendo Switch game debut to date, with over 3 million units sold. Let's bring in Yahoo Finance's Dan Howley. And Dan, I will admit I have never played this game, but we're talking about domestic records over in Japan for Nintendo. How much of this is a Japan-specific story? How much of this do you think expands beyond borders for Nintendo?
I think it could expand beyond borders for Nintendo, though. Obviously these numbers are specifically from Japan, as you point out, as 3.45 million units in the first 3 days since the launch on September 9th. Nintendo says that's the highest domestic sales level for any Switch game in 3 days. So that does, lead you to believe that we would see similar types of sales, or at least decent sales in other territories. And, just to give you an idea, some of the best rated games that have come out recently, or in recent years rather, have come from the Switch. We're talking about, of course, Zelda Breath of the Wild. We're talking about Super Mario Odyssey, things along those lines. So, for this game to sell better does lead you to believe that we could see those better sales. It also, though, could have to do with kind of the humdrum releases that we've seen as of late in the game industry in general. There's been no real splashy releases in the most recent months over the summer. So that could be part of the reasoning. We're expected to get some good games coming in the later half of the year and next month in particular, but those are going to be on other consoles as well. So, this could be specifically a Nintendo story because of what's going on in the industry in general with sales. But it is important to look at just in the context of how video game sales have been doing overall. We saw them decline in general based on year over year connections. We've seen that, sales of Microsoft's hardware has dropped, Sony software sales have dropped, and we've seen hardware and software drop for Nintendo. So this is all coming off the back of obviously COVID and the huge explosion that we saw in gaming at that point. And so people are kind of pulling back on their spending. People are going back out again and not necessarily glued to their couches. But to see a game like this, Splatoon, it is very popular. This is the third one. So obviously that means that there's a lot of appetite for it. So to see a game like this do so well out of the gate is really interesting. And like I said, it could be that we will see similar sales in other regions, or it could just be that we're just seeing people say, well, there's nothing else to play. Let me give it a shot.
Well, Nintendo's certainly going to take that win. A 5.5% pop is a big one, at least in their shares over in Japan.